By the end of this video, I am going to share with you 2 big reasons why you want to avoid probate in your life and in your family's lives and anybody else that you love and care about. What is a probate? Well, you'll want to stick around and watch. This is Kasama Lee, your community realtor. By the end of this video, you'll have a better picture and understanding what a probate is and some tools and knowledge to equip you to prevent probate from happening in your life and in your family's life. You definitely want to stick around and watch this. I will break it down in as simplest terms as possible because that's how my mind works. I don't get too complicated and overlayer with things and big words and all the things. So I'm going to tell you from where I am as a real estate agent. By the way, I am not an attorney. I have no expertise or knowledge in explaining what a probate is or what estate planning is. I am going to share with you an aspect from being a real estate agent who has served multiple families, especially probably in the past 5-6 years, that have had to go through probate or were close to going through probate or were able to be exempt from going through probate. That's where I'm coming from, and I'm hoping that you would take away from this podcast and be able to make a decision for yourself on how to prepare your family so that you can avoid probate. By the way, if you find this type of content valuable to you, you want to hit, subscribe and the bell notification so you don't miss any of our future videos. And it would help build our channel with your liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, so that we can get the channel to grow to reach out to more people. And that means a whole lot to me. Thank you. So I'm going to give you a short and simple definition of a probate, okay? Now, before I continue, I want to make sure you understand, you don't have to be wealthy to get into probate. You just have to have some assets and some debts. And assets could be owning one home. Literally, probate can get inside your family's life. And this could just maybe not you, but maybe your parents or people who have accumulated assets that are going to be passed on, okay? So you see, a probate is something that happens when the person who owns real estate, owns a home, or has some, certain amount of assets is passed on. They have passed on, they have died. And now if the planning hasn't been done in advance, this is where probate kicks in. So what is a probate? A probate is a court-supervised process of handling a deceased person's estate to validate the will, pay debts, and distribute remaining assets to beneficiaries. The process involves court procedures to appoint a legal representative to identify, inventory, and appraise the assets, pay any final bills and taxes, and then transfer property according to the will or state law. This process can be complex and lengthy, potentially taking months or years, and many involve costs such as court fees and attorney fees. Sounds complicated, right? Well, it is when you get into probate. The one thing you have to know is if you have a will, or this again, think of your parents, think of the people that you love, that are in your life. You may want to ask them, do you have estate planning set up? Okay. So if they have a will alone, that will not prevent them. I know this for a fact. I don't have to be an attorney just because I've had to serve many families that, the parent or whoever it is and has passed on, the property's in their name, they had a will. The will does not prevent probate. They have to have a living trust that had been set up while they were alive. Every single one of you, if you're a homeowner, if you're a young family, you've got kids, all the things, you should be thinking about setting up a living trust now. You can change the verbiage, the assets, the list of things inside the living trust. Once it's set up, you just need to set up the shell, right? And inside the trust, there would be your will. So, the will would state who the beneficiaries are, right? But it has to be inside the trust umbrella. It states, your advance directives on how you choose to be, at the end of your life, do you want to be on life support, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to get into the weeds of all that because this is all subjective. Every family, you have the right to make those decisions. But the best way that I see it is make those decisions while your mind is sound and you get to make your own choices, so that when it's your time to go, you're not leaving it to be a burden or a decision of your children or other people to have to guess what you might want to do, okay? Especially with the probate piece, okay? So first of all, reason number one you want to have a living trust set up to avoid probate is probate can be expensive. Did you hear that? Expensive. It's money that's going to have to come out to pay the court fees, the attorney fees, all the things before the probate is finalized. A probate can take months to years before the court has approved it, before you can actually sell or liquidate any assets that's inside that person, the deceased person's, list of assets that they have. So expensive and costly, that alone should get your attention. In simple terms, probate is the legal process of using a court to settle a deceased person's estate by paying debts and distributing their assets to beneficiaries. This process validates a will, if there is one, appoints an executor to manage the estate, and ensures that debts and taxes are paid before the remaining property is transferred to the rightful heirs or beneficiaries. The second reason to avoid probate is a probate is a public process. It goes through the court system, the financials, and all the things about the deceased person's list of assets and debts are now public information. When you go through probate, it's no longer your private matter. It's no longer your family matter. So that is a big second reason why you want to avoid probate. Sharing a little personal story with you, our family have set up a living trust. We're in place, okay? And you can, again, like I said, you can insert or delete properties that are inside the trust. That can be edited and revised. And when your property is listed on the public tax record, it actually shows the trust name, not your personal names. That's, when we go through public tax records for clients or doing our research, that's how we know if there's a trust in place. The other place that we see it is in the property profile when we work with a designated escrow and title company, when they pull the actual deed of how the property is currently deeded. So in a nutshell, it's not too late. Even if you didn't know anything about probate or estate planning until you watched this video, you're welcome, by the way, you can still set up your living trust now, okay? The will, remember, is secondary. It does not protect you from going through probate, so you want to make sure a living trust is set up. I'm going to put some links underneath our YouTube, this particular YouTube video, so you can see some links of resources that you can read up on. If you are local to me in California, and if you need some recommendations of either an estate planning attorney or a estate planning legal document preparation, which is not an attorney, but it's a service that I know of a company owner who could do this. And they work, their clients are like judges and attorneys, so they do all the document preparation for you. They can do that. It's an actual legal document preparation entity that can do this for you as well. And it's not as costly as working with an attorney, and it serves the same purpose, the same process. They just cannot give you legal advice, okay? So if you need any of that information, email me at, Kasama@kasamasales.com. I would be more than happy to be a resource for you. That's what we're here for. And it's really been a heavy thing on my heart because I have seen many of our clients go through unexpected legal proceedings and time-consuming process just to be able to claim the property and to be able to actually sell it after the probate has been approved by the court. So if you knew that in advance and you can avoid it, you may want to seriously make the time and consider that. I just finished having this conversation with a dear friend of ours who was considering it. I said, get it done, because you don't want to be on the other side of it, and your kids are having to scramble and figure out how to even sell the property. And I get calls from people when something unexpected happened to the property owner, and their kids are just left with, what do I do now? I can't even touch the property. So I don't want that to be you. So this is from my family to yours, and I hope that you will take action to make sure that your family is protected and have the right legal umbrella so that you can make sound decisions when the unfortunate time comes. All right, this is Kasama. Thanks for watching.